This is your evening news update for Tuesday, May 18. So glad you could join us. Government's vaccination fund is now more than $10 million strong after 3 corporate entities delivered major contributions today. Republic Bank officially handed over Barbados $250,000, CIBC First Caribbean donated $389,800, and the Barbados Shipping Association $25,000 at a press conference this afternoon. Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, said the monetary contributions will enable the island to achieve the goal of herd immunity.
We anticipated that we would need to vaccinate close to 300,000 persons, adults, in Barbados, because we haven't yet had a vaccine approved specifically for minors or children. And then obviously we also have been playing a critical role, even with cruise ships and the like. We have also been working with other agents, other stakeholders, let me put it that way, in order to facilitate that process as required. So we want to be in a position to ensure that if people are desirous of coming to Barbados and be vaccinated, that they can do so. But the primary objective is to ensure that the population who resides here are vaccinated such that we can have herd immunity, so that visitors, the interaction with visitors obviously will be safer than what obviously is currently the case. And so we estimate based on the costing, because we already remember in March, we actually voted $25 million in Parliament to cover not just the vaccines, but also the supplies that accompany obviously going with the vaccines. So given what we knew then, it should be enough. These funds now obviously a matter of reimbursing from that perspective. So we anticipate that should be enough to be able to cover the population, adult population.
Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Republic Bank, Anthony Clerk, was pleased to make his contribution. He says the vaccine program is critical to getting Barbados back on its feet.
And we feel that the vaccine donation is extremely important to Barbados, because this, as far as we are concerned, is how we can start to get out of this malaise that we are in and return to some semblance of normalcy, to get the economy back on its feet, to get the tourism back on its feet, and we start to go back to our normal lives, whatever that may look like.
Managing Director of CIBC First Caribbean, Donna Wellington, is also happy to be a partner in the fight against COVID-19. She encouraged Barbadians to get vaccinated and adhere to the protocols.
We want to continue to encourage everyone to be safe and to mask up and to follow the protocols. We also want to encourage the vaccination effort individually. We want to encourage each Barbadian to seek to be vaccinated as soon as possible.
Vice President of the Shipping Association, Simone Phillips, praised the government's efforts to keep the country safe.
We do recognize that it's very important, and we wanted to play our role. And we know that the fight is nowhere near over, and we wanted to assist in some way in this fight, as we look forward to the government of Barbados continuing the excellent job they have done in working towards protecting the people of Barbados against this formidable enemy. And so we would like to just join arms with you to let you know that we are here, we are supportive, and we wish you guys every success in your efforts.
One of the government's leading advisors says it's time for Barbados to take its international business sector to the next level by attracting more firms to relocate here. Special Envoy to the Prime Minister on Investment and Financial Services, Professor Avinash Prasad, says with new U.S. proposals for fresh global tax measures looming, now is the time for Barbados to make its move.
Of course, the essence of the listing is simply anti-competitive behavior. When we get on an AML blacklist, anti-money laundering blacklist, we are supposedly a threat to the global financial system. The world knows that the majority of money laundering takes place in London, in New York, in Zurich, and those countries, those places are never ever on that list. So this is really an attempt to be anti-competitive. But you don't get anywhere by being a moaning Minnie. We have to find a way of dealing with it. So there are two fundamental things. There was a fundamental issue that we charge international business a different tax rate than domestic business. And whatever happened, that was always going to be an issue. We dramatically changed that in 2019. The next thing we need to do, though, is we actually need to make sure that businesses, Jewel, are headquartered here. So New York and London, America under new President Biden and the UK may decide to have a global minimum corporate tax rate. That's the current thing being debated. Now, they could determine how they tax a Barbadian subsidiary of a British company. They can't determine how they tax a Barbadian headquartered company. So we need to bring these companies to Barbados to do real business in Barbados and be headquartered here. And for that, we need to make sure our people are well trained, we've got great technology, and doing business has to be much easier than it has been.
He was speaking today during a discussion entitled Barbados to the World that explored the island's potential to grow the international business sector. President of the Barbados International Business Association, Derek Cummins, says small island financial centers like Barbados are constantly under pressure from bigger countries and international watchdogs. He says the country must therefore ensure it's always on top of its game.
So we have to master the products and services that we currently offer. We have to master the innovation and development of new products and services, master transparency and compliance. We have to master the certainty of our regimes, our tax regime, the certainty of legislation, the certainty of processes and timing and costs in which you get things done. And one critical one, we have to master our educational system. Are we developing the next cadre of professionals to take up the opportunities that are existing out there and we want to bring to Barbados?
Non-communicable diseases in Barbados are spiraling out of control and urgent action is needed now. Associate Lecturer in Family Medicine at the University of the West Indies Cayfield campus, Dr. Colin Alert, made the call during an online discussion hosted by the Diabetes and Hypertension Association of Barbados and the Heart and Stroke Foundation last evening. Dr. Alert is not only concerned about the high rates of hypertension, but he says strokes and heart attacks are also worrying.
A heart attack a day, 30, 20 die. We have 3 strokes every 2 days, which is 45 a month, 20 of those die. So every month we have 40 people dying from heart attacks and strokes. In the last 15 months of COVID, we've had 44 people die. So every month, hypertension-related diseases cause major amount of death. And as I said before, things are getting worse.
At the same time, local pharmacist and lecturer at the Barbados Community College, Robert Carter, says while Barbadians are taking their medication to control their high blood pressure levels, they're mixing too many supplements with their prescribed medications, and this is dangerous.
Patients tend to believe that if I take this drug along with my medication in a complementary fashion, that this is going to benefit me in some way. And a lot of the times, a lot of persons do not know that these drugs interact with each other, and drugs interact with herbs. And as much as you would say herbs don't have side effects, which is in a lot of cases very, very true, their side effect profile is very minimal. What you have is that you get interaction between that and the drug, the herb and the drug, or the supplement and the drug, which can potentiate the effect of the drug. And by that I mean, you may get an additive effect. So instead of getting your blood pressure reduced by double digits, which you want to 120 over 80, you might be getting your blood pressure reduced a lot further. And that was never discussed with the doctor.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today news you can trust.
To regional news, a Jamaican 15-year-old boy remains on the run after fatally shooting a 6-year-old boy on Monday. More in this report from Television Jamaica.
The dead toddler has been identified as Jadane Miller of 105 Dalling Street in Savannah, Lamar. Reports are that about 2:30 yesterday, the boys were in their yard when the 15-year-old, who was said to be arguing with the toddler, shot him in the back. The 15-year-old then left the area and has not been seen since. The Westmoreland Police is seeking the public's assistance in locating him.
On the international scene, the United Nations says more than 52,000 Palestinians have been displaced by Israeli airstrikes that have destroyed or badly damaged nearly 450 buildings in the Gaza Strip.
The bombing in Gaza hasn't let up. Surveying the ruins of his home, heavily damaged in an Israeli airstrike, Kamal Khazala says he got a call from the army to evacuate as they planned to bomb the building next door. His family fled, but are now homeless.
كانت عندي طلعت في البيت ما فيش مأوى لا إلي ولا لأمي ولا لإخوتي ولا لأولادي. كلنا هيتنا كله دمار شامل ما فيش حاجة في الدار كلها هيتا لا فوق ولا تحت كلها هيتو دمار شامل.
Many made homeless by the strikes turned to schools run by the United Nations, like this one, for shelter. More than 52,000 Gazans have been displaced by the Israeli airstrikes. Israeli forces say they are targeting Hamas. Shelling also damaged the health ministry, as well as 18 hospitals or clinics, and the territory is running low on crucial medication. Israel is now allowing in some aid. Palestinians across the region, including Jerusalem and Ramallah, went on general strike on Tuesday in protest against the conflict that has killed more than 200 people in Gaza, including over 60 children, as it enters its second week.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.